Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, my name is Nikki with MontanaCrochetCreations.com. Today we're making this really cute Jack Skellington beanie. I know it is only September, but the weather's starting to get a little bit cooler at night here in Montana, and my daughter is actually a huge fan of Nightmare Before Christmas, and she loves Jack Skellington. So I wanted to go ahead and make this cute little beanie for her. I think it turned out really cute. It's nice because you can customize it in different colors. You can make it different sizes and basically make it to fit pretty much anyone. All right, so you're going to need a few things for this Jack Skellington beanie. You're going to need some number 4 worsted weight yarn. I'm using Red Heart Super Saver in the color Dark Heather, which is my gray color here, and then also in black. And then I have just plain white for that. You're going to need a Pom Pom maker of any size that you want. My daughter likes the really big fat Pom Poms, so we're going to use the biggest Pom Pom maker that comes in the package. And I'll link down in the description box the products that I'm using in here, as well as a link to a printable PDF version of this pattern that's going to be ad-free. You're also going to need some craft scissors for clipping your yarn tails. You will need a yarn needle for weaving in your yarn ends and attaching all of your little pieces to the Jack Skellington face and to your beanie, and attaching your pom-pom to this hat. We're going to need a 3mm crochet hook. That's going to take care of the 2 little eyes right here. And then we also will need a 5mm crochet hook for the hat and the actual face of Jack Skellington. So go ahead and grab everything that you need, and I'll meet you back and we'll get started on this Jack Skellington beanie. All right, let's get started on the beanie portion of this Jack Skellington hat. So we are going to start with our magic circle here. And if you don't know how to make a magic circle, I will make sure and put that link up in the top right-hand corner for you. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to place 12 half double crochet, or I'm sorry, 10 half double crochet inside our magic circle. So we're going to yarn over and insert our hook and draw up our loop. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of our loops. So there's our first one. So we're going to do 10 total. That's 5. I'm going to pull that tighter a little bit. 6, 7, 8, 9, and we have 10. So we're just going to take our tail, pull that tight. We're going to come over and just slip stitch to the very first half double crochet right there. And then that is the end of round 1. So you should still have just your 10 half double crochet that you started with. I'm going to chain 1 and then start on row 2. All right, for round 2, we're going to start with a chain of 2. And that's going to count as our first double crochet here. All right, for the beginning of round 2, we just chained 2. And remember, this does not count as a stitch here. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to place 2 half double crochet in this chain 1 space right here. So we're yarning over, going into that same stitch, drawing up our loop, yarning over, pulling through 2, and yarning over and pulling through 2 again. And we're going to place 2 double crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around. So go ahead and finish doing your 2 double crochet in each stitch, and I'll meet you back in a few minutes and we will get started on round 3. Let's start on round 3. So I chained 2, and now what we're going to do is we are going to place 1 double crochet in that chain 2 space right here. And then we're going to place 2 double crochet in this very next stitch, just like this. And that's our repeat pattern for round 3. So we're going to do 1 double crochet, and then we're going to do 2 double crochet. So go ahead and get all the way back around to the beginning of round 3. At this point, and you don't have to do this, but at this point I'm going to switch to my black yarn, and I'm just going to alternate the colors from here on out between the gray and black for this beanie for our Jack Skellington hat. So when I get back over here, I will meet you back. I'm going to slip stitch to this and I'll show you how I'm going to change to my black yarn. Moving on to round 4. So I clipped my gray yarn off there because I knew we were going to be attaching the black. And like I said, or you don't have to change colors if you don't want to. So we've got 1 and 2. And then I'm going to flip this over and come and just give this a nice little tie in a knot right here. And then I'm going to crochet over these yarn tails so I don't have to weave them in. Just like this. And then now I'm just going to alternate. I think I'm going to do 1 round of black and then 2 rounds of gray, and then 1 round of black and then 2 rounds of gray. So what we're going to do for round 4 is I'm going to double crochet in this chain 2 space right here. And then I'm going to double crochet in this next stitch here. And then now we're going to place 2 double crochet in this next stitch. So we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, 2 double crochet in 1 stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way around until we get back to the very beginning. If you're changing colors and you're going to follow my pattern, when we get back to the gray here at the end of round 4, or the black, we're going to switch back to our gray yarn. Let's get started on round 5. So I switched back to my gray yarn and I chained 2. So for round 5, we're going to double crochet in our chain 2 space where we attached our gray yarn. Now we're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches here. So 3 stitches with a double crochet total. So there's 1, and now we have 2, so that's 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to place 2 double crochet in this next stitch right here. And now we're going to place 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And that's going to be our repeat pattern for this round right here. Let's get started on round 6. So I chained 2, and I'm going to double crochet in this chain 2 space, just like this. And then I'm going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So for 4 total stitches, we'll have 1 double crochet. So there's 1, 2, and now we have 3. So if you count back, we've got our double crochet that was in our chain 2 space. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to place 2 double crochet in this next stitch, and that's going to be our repeat pattern. All right, so I switched to my black yarn and chained 2. So now for round 7, we are just going to double crochet in that chain 2 space right here. Now we're going to double crochet in every single stitch all the way around. And we're going to continue working our alternating patterns with 1 double crochet all the way around until we are done with round 21. So at the end of round 21, we are going to go ahead and fasten off, and then we're going to start working on our Jack Skellington face for this beanie. Okay, so I finished my beanie. I did 21 rows. Like I said in the beginning, though, this is for someone that has a little bit of a larger head. If you get to the point where you're doing this and you feel like it's starting to get too long, here in this length for your head, you can stop at any point because there's not really anything special with the way that it ended. It was just a row of double crochet, and that's it. So this is what your beanie will look like for our Jack Skellington hat. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start working on the little round face for it. So let's grab our white yarn, and we're going to continue with our 5mm hook for the face portion of Jack Skellington, and then we'll get that done, and then we'll start working on the eyes and everything. So I'll see you back in a few minutes when you have your white yarn. All right, so I started with my magic circle here, and again, I'll leave another link in the right-hand corner for that, just in case if you can't remember how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to place 10 half double crochet inside our magic circle here. So there's 1, 2, so 7, 8, 9, and now we have 10. Do the exact same thing. We're going to pull that yarn tail tight, and we're just going to come over and slip stitch to that very first half double crochet, just like that. All right, for round 2, we're placing 2 half double crochet in our chain 2 space, just like this. And now we're going to place 2 half double crochet in every single stitch all the way around. For round 3, we're going to chain 2. Then we're going to place 2 half double crochet in our chain 2 space right here. There's 1, and then there's 2. And then now we are going to half double crochet in this next stitch. We're going to place 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, and that's our repeat pattern. So you're going to work your way all the way back around, and when you get back to the beginning, you're going to slip stitch to the top of your first half double crochet right there, and then you're going to chain 2 again. Moving on to round 4, we're going to place 2 half double crochet in our chain 2 space again here, just like that. And then now we are going to half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, and here's another one. And now we're going to place 2 half double crochet in this next stitch right here. And then 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. All right, so I'm starting round 5. And what I'm going to do is place 2 half double crochet in that chain 2 space, just like this. Now I'm going to half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 2, and there's 3. And now I'm going to place 2 half double crochet in this next stitch right here. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. I'm going to stop right here because I just measured this on my beanie, and it is actually going to be a really great size for my beanie. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. So, all right, I have my black yarn and then my 3mm crochet hook here. And I'm going to start with my slip stitch, just like this. And now we're going to chain 2. What we're going to do next is we are going to place 2 single crochet in our second chain from the hook. So this very first chain that we did, we're placing 2 single crochet. Just like this here. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work here. And now we're going to work on row 2. So we're placing 2 single crochet in our very first stitch. There's 1 and 2. And now we're going to place 1 single crochet in our very next stitch here, just like that. So now we have our 3 stitches. So for row 3, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and then we're going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So we went into that chain 1 space and then into our next one. And now we're going to place, get that back on my hook. We're going to place 2 single crochet in this very last stitch right here. And it might be a little tricky to see, especially with the black yarn. But, you know, Jack Skellington's eyes are black, so that's what we need to use. So we're going to chain 1, turn our work here. And then for row 4, we're going to place 2 single crochet in this chain 1 space. And then we are going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and now we have 3, which is our last one. We're going to chain 1, turn our work. For row 5, we're going to single crochet in the first 4 stitches, including that chain 1 space. So there's 1, 2, 3, and now we have 4. And then now we are going to place 2 single crochet in our very last stitch here. Make sure I grab that full stitch instead of part of it. There we go. So there's 1, and now we have 2. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. For row 6, we're going to place 2 single crochet in this chain 1 space. Now we are going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. There's 3, 4, and now we have 5. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. For row 7, what we're going to do is now we're going to start making the eye kind of round off a little bit, so that way he has his little pointy little angry eyes. So what we're going to do for row 7 is we are going to single crochet these first 2 stitches together. So we're inserting our hook into that chain 1 space and drawing up our loop. We're going right directly into our very next stitch, drawing up our loop, yarning over and pulling through all 3 of those loops right there. Then we are going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches here. So there's 1 and 2. And now we are going to single crochet these last 2 stitches together. Actually, no, there's one more we gotta do. So single crochet in that 3rd stitch. Like I said, it's kind of hard to see with the black. Now we're going to single crochet these very last 2 stitches together here. There we go. And I do apologize if it's hard to see. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work right there. Now for row 8, we are going to single crochet our first 2 stitches together right here, just like this. And now we're going to single crochet in this next stitch. And if you can see, now we only have 2 stitches left. So we're going to single crochet these last 2 stitches together, just like this. We're chain 1 and turn our work. And now you can see that his eye is kind of starting to take shape a little bit. So for row 9, and this is our last row, we are going to just single crochet this stitch together here, and then we have 1 last single crochet, if I can grab that, just like this. And now we are going to go ahead and just fasten off, and we're going to leave ourselves a pretty long yarn tail, so that way we can attach this eye to the head. And we're going to make 1 more of these. All right, I got my eyes done, and we're going to get our eyes put on here. So I'm going to go in off camera and I'm going to weave these yarn tails in, but what I'm going to do is just kind of like situate where I think that these should go. I want this more angled sort of flat portion right here at the top, and I want the rounded portion to be at the bottom of the eye. So we're going to put them in like this, and what we're going to do is just kind of stitch all along. But I'm going to weave these 2 yarn tails in really quick, and then I'll meet you back and we'll get these attached to our Jack Skellington face. All right, so I threaded my yarn needle, and what I'm going to do is just kind of figure out where I want these, just like this. Yeah, that looks like a good spot. So now I'm just going to come over here, and I'm just going to take my yarn, and the way I like to attach my yarn is I just like to go from the top through the back portion right here. You can see my needle right there, and then back out through the front. Don't get your yarn tail from the white stuck in there. And then I'm just going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to go all the way around this eye right here. There we are. And then now I'm coming up to the very beginning part of that. You can see this part right here hasn't been attached yet, so I'm going to just attach that. There we go. And then now I'm going to take and poke my needle through the back, flip it over just like this, and then I'm going to go in and just weave in my yarn tails. And it doesn't have to be super pretty back here, because remember, this is going to be attached to our beanie. So if the back of Jack Skellington's face is a little messy, it's not really that big of a deal. It's attached, and I'm just going to use my leftover yarn from attaching my eyes. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do is 2 little nostrils. So we're going to do 1 nostril kind of flared out over here, and another one kind of flared out over here. So I'm just going to come in from the back right here, just like that. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail right here. And then I am going to, actually I'm going to go in a tiny bit. Let's scoot over a little. And this is going to be all your preference. So you're just going to be doing this the way that you want it to look. So let's leave our little bit of a tail. And then I'm going to come over here, just basically like one stitch over and one row down. And I'm going to grab, and that creates his first little nostril. And I like to do, you know me, you've seen it a ton, I like to do it a double thick, so that way it sticks out quite a bit more. Just be careful how tight you pull, because you don't want it pulling it really small into your Jack Skellington face. And then now we're just going to tie this in a knot right here. And I'm not even going to worry about weaving these yarn tails in right here, because like I said, it's going to be, there we go. It's going to be on the inside of Jack Skellington's face anyway. So there's that. I'm going to clip this. I mean, if you want to weave in your yarn tails, you absolutely can, but I'm not going to. So there's this first little nostril right there. Leave a little bit of space right there. And I'm going to come down just like that. And then I'm going back over it one more time, making sure I'm not grabbing my white yarn tail. I'm going back over just like that. And then we'll come over and tie this in a knot as well right here. All right, and now you can see he's really starting to take form, and his mouth is really going to make him stand out. There's a lot of different mouths that he has. You're more than welcome to look online on Google or something and kind of do a different mouth if you want to, but we're just going to do the basic standard smiley face mouth today for our Jack Skellington. So I am going to go basically one row down. So at the very top, or the very bottom, I guess I should say, top, bottom, not sure how you would describe that, of our row 5, we're going to start working on our smiley face. So I am going to just keep pulling this. Again, I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail right there, and I'm going to go every couple of stitches right here, just pulling that through. There's that. And then now I'm going to come one stitch over this way. Then we're going to go into that spot right there. Just keep working our way, and we're going to work our way all the way back over to right about here. You want to be about the same as it was whenever you, where you started. So now I'm just going to go back in and make it a little, stand out a little bit more. So we're going to do this. Go back over all of those, and then we're going to put our stitches in on top of his face. All right, so we have his smiley face, and it's nice and dark now. So what I'm going to do is basically just come along here, and I am just going to just make like his little stitches that goes over the top of his mouth. And we're just going to kind of space them out throughout the entire mouth, and then I'm going to go back over them one more time, just like this. And some of the stitches you may want to make longer than the others, because I mean, he does have kind of a stitched mouth there. It's supposed to resemble a little bit of a skeleton, or a skeleton. There we go. Okay, we're coming up to our last two, and then our very last one right here, just like that. And you can either leave it like this if you want to, or you can do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go back over it and make it stand out a little bit more. So I'm basically just going to go back over these through the exact same stitches that I just did. When I get all the way back over here to this one, I'll be able to flip it over, and I'll be able to tie these 2 strings and where the yarn that I'm currently using in a knot. And like I said, if you want, you can go ahead and weave in those yarn tails, or if you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. You can do what I'm going to do and just leave it in a knot and then not worry about it. I'm at my very last stitch that I was going over, and see that leaves me in the very bottom. So I'm just going to come over here and just tie this in a knot. Just like that. And then I can clip my yarn tail. And I might go in and weave these in just a little bit so that way they're not sticking out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we're going to attach the head to the beanie, and then we'll get started on our pom-pom. All right, I have my white yarn threaded, and what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to attach our Jack Skellington head the same way that I attached the eyes. But first, you're just going to kind of want to make sure you position this exactly where you want it. I'm going to do kind of more to the middle, and I want to have it down towards the end a little bit. So maybe like 2 rows away from the very bottom right here. So we've got a row of gray and then our row of black. And I'm going to attach it there and make sure he's like pretty equally centered on my beanie. So I'm just going to take my white yarn and I'm going to start over here. It's going to take a little bit more time doing this, but there we go. You just have to be a little more careful because you don't want to grab any of the beanie from the bottom layer. There we are. And there's a knot in my yarn, so I have to just kind of give it a good yank to get that through. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to continue going all the way around this Jack Skellington head right here, and I'm going to attach him, and then whenever I'm done doing that, I'll meet you back and we will get started on the pom-pom for the top of this beanie. So here is our beanie with Jack Skellington's face attached to it. Now you can either leave it just like this, like if you're making this for a boy or anything like that, it would be just fine like this, looks super cute. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a pom-pom to attach up here. And my daughter likes the really big fat pom-poms, so we're going to use this really big one right here. So I'm just going to use, where are we at? I'm just going to use black yarn for my pom-pom, and that's all I'm going to do. But what I'm going to do is I just opened up my 2 ends right here, and I'm just going to grab my black yarn, and I'm going to start wrapping my yarn around this first plastic piece of my pom-pom maker. So I usually just kind of hold on to it just like this, and then just start wrapping it so that way it kind of gets it to where it's like held in place. You want to wrap it fairly tight, just like this, and you want to make sure that your little end pieces stay nice and even. So now I'm just going to continue wrapping this all the way around, and I'm going to keep wrapping it in a fashion to where it's, when I'm done, it's before I switch over to this side, it's going to be this same thickness as the actual like piece right here. All right, so I have the thickness where I want it. What I'm going to do is just fold this over, and then I'm just going to take and run my yarn right through this, just like that. And I'm going to just start wrapping around this end over here as well. Same sort of rules apply. Try your best to keep the yarn as close to the edge as possible, going around, and you want to make sure that these stay nice and flat together. And you're just going to work your way around this until it's the same thickness as this piece right here. All right, so I have it as thick as I want it. I'm going to go ahead and push that right there, and then I am going to clip my yarn just kind of like towards the top of that right there. Now, but you can see this ridge right here, and that's where you're running your scissors, and you're just cutting along this entire thing, and the whole time you're keeping this smashed together because you don't want it to come undone, because that's what is holding your pom-pom together at this point. So we're going to cut all the way to right here, and hopefully you can see that. And then now I'm going to come over here to this side, and I'm going to start cutting the same way. These smaller scissors actually work better than I thought they were going to. They're definitely starting to get dull though, so I for sure need to get a new pair. But I love these ones. They're just really nice and comfortable to hold. Here we go. Almost to the very end. All right. So I clipped that, and then I clipped that piece of yarn. You could see it maybe in the center right there. That piece of yarn from the beginning. So leave that holding right there. And then I'm going to take a pretty good size piece of my black yarn. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run it through this hole right here and over the top, just like that. And I am going to just tie that in a knot, because this is what's going to create our pom-pom and keep it nice in a little hole there, or keep it in its little shape, just like that. So what we can do now is lift this up and off, and then there's our first half of our little pom-pom, and then we can come over here and lift this up and off, just like that, and then this pops right off of there, and now we've got our nice big fluffy pom-pom. And I love the pom-pom makers because it makes a pretty consistent looking pom-pom there. So you can see there's a couple of spots you might have to do a little tiny haircut on it, but it's not really going to be too terribly much. So let me get that out of the way. And I'm just going to take, we'll just take our smaller crochet hook, because we don't really need, it doesn't really matter what size we're going to use with this. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to grab one of these pieces of yarn and pull it through the inside of this hat of my beanie, just like that, if you could see. And now I'm going to come up here and go to the other side, and I'm going to grab the other piece of yarn. I'm going to pull that through, grab it just like this. Now I'm going to take, and you can see that this is where we pulled it through, and I'm going to take, and I'm just going to tie these in a knot, just like that. And you want it to be nice and tight because you want that pom-pom on there really good. There we go. And then I will just take my yarn needle. There we are. Boy, I'm a mess right now. Jeez. Take my yarn needle, thread that, and then we're going to weave in these yarn tails. And there we have it. That is our Jack Skellington beanie that we just made. It turned out really, really cute. Hopefully you have someone that you know that is a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan and would love this. I have put a link to this pattern in the description box below, along with all of the products that I used for this, if you would like to make this as well. And that is all. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and lastly, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It really does help me a lot. Make sure you ring that notification bell, as I am posting videos here weekly. And that is everything. I love you guys all so very much, and I will see you in my next video.